Ah, I was on mute that whole time. All right, cool. Well, we're gonna get started here in just a minute. Just getting set up. Hopefully, hopefully everything is working okay. Make sure the mic is right. I think it is. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Double check the chat. All right, cool. Welcome, guys and girls and whoever. Good to see you again. I don't know if you guys want me calling you by your names or not. It's a weird thing that like YouTube started where we didn't have these real names all the time. Everybody was like, whatever, Rise or whatever. But now it's like, hey, Alec or Nelson. It's very, it's very weird for me because I'm a Zennial, millennial, whatever you want to say, from the 80s and 90s, and grew up on AOL, and nobody had real names there. So this is kind of a wild time, wild place for me. Yeah, I actually have like a Google account as well for YouTube, and I don't use it unless I know that nobody's gonna be looking for me type stuff. Otherwise, I'm like, let me find the Google account that doesn't have my real name, and we go from there. But I'm not gonna be on camera the whole time this time. Hey, Showcase, what's going on? Yeah, you got a nice fake name. I like it. All right, so check this out. I wasn't gonna do this, but here we are. Merch. We got our mug. Don't buy it yet. They're fixing it. It's not good yet, but it's cool. But it's not right yet. So it has the TD on front, but it's like not centered. You can kind of see. Like I feel like it should be here, but it's here. And then on the other side, it's like also not centered. It's cool, right? It says hang in there. It gets worse, and it probably does, especially after this run up of a week we had. But I'm happy that it came through anyway. I gave my feedback because there's a little bit of improvements I think we can make before it goes live for real, for real. Um, and the tariffs are going to hit for sure because this one's made in China. I don't know if you can see that little sticker or not. No, I only got one, so they're all made to order. We're good there. Darren, I don't know if you guys know Darren on After Hour. He's actually the one that runs the merch shop. So shout out to him for putting that all together. It's super cool, man. Like my kids want merch. They're like, Dad, can I get a Theta Daddy's hoodie? And I'm like, for what? They're like, to wear to school. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, tell your friends about the Theta Daddies, and maybe tell them to tell their parents, right? But I'm real happy with how the logo came out, though. Like that's for sure. We got a cool logo. Props to Mr. Bob Dog for making that one happen. But yeah, super cool, super cool. You're getting one, awesome. Darren owns all of After Hours merch. He started with the hat, the After Hours hat, like it was like in December. I think Bob Dog posted a picture of it, like the first person who had one. He might have been Darren's first customer. Awesome. All right. Well, it is about 8 o'clock. I'm not planning on staying on camera this whole time because I'm like, I really just wanted to show the mug, but I came from a workout with my son. So I'm all like, that's why I'm wearing a hat because I'm gross. So we'll turn the cam off. And this way I don't clog up the screen anyway. You'll need to see my face. Goodbye. Disappeared. Perfect. By the way, I kind of wanted to start with like not me for once and instead go with the Theta Daddy tracker first for just a minute. And I just want to say like how proud I am of this whole crew. And as you just like look as people are doing this, I feel like each person could have their own graph of just like going left to right of improvements over time and trending. I think Showcase, you said it actually, keep going up and to the right, especially like as you look at this stuff, it's all compounding, right? So like as your gains get bigger, they will get bigger, assuming you're reinvesting it all, right? I guess if you're taking it all out of this like a dividend income type thing, well then maybe not. But this is pretty awesome stuff, man. And I every once in a while I'll do this where I just select everything. And if you can't see it down here, the sum is officially $1.5 million. Like that is insane. And I just like to brag on the Theta Daddies themselves here for a little bit. I know I'm here to talk about my stuff, but this is like where it's really interesting to me to see. It's like all of this is kind of a giant experiment if you think about it. Hopefully, a very profitable one for everybody involved. But like, we're all winning. There's like a couple of negative numbers here somewhere. I can't like. I'm not gonna click them. I'm not gonna click them because I don't want to let call anyone out. But there are a couple of negative numbers, and generally those are from people cleaning up portfolios of like old decisions. Obviously, our history only goes back to the 18th, right? So I have old mistakes that are still peeling out of here, and they're in some of these numbers, which is kind of cool. But it's super cool, man. It's super cool. I love seeing it, and I hope everybody continues to put their numbers in as we go. And it's not about size; it really is. This percent is what matters the most. And for the record, like almost everybody beats me, which is pretty funny. But I love it. Like that's we all have different risk profile. I don't know what everybody's investing in or any of that, but it's just so awesome to see. So all right, enough of me blabbing. Let's get into what we said we would talk about this week, which is, or every week, which is my results, I guess. But happy to talk about other people's stuff too. If you got something in chat you want to talk about, feel free to throw it out there. I keep a pretty close eye on it. You know what? Last time I put it on the screen over here, which it's hard. It's hard for me to do that because then when I click on the screen, that disappears. So instead, I'm just gonna keep it to the side. But you guys can see your own chat, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so for this week, I'll zoom in a little bit. I had a very good finish. I was very happy with it. There was a moment of, I don't want to say panic, but a very possible $12,000 hit from selling deck that I was kind of expecting to happen, but then it didn't. So that's kind of cool. And overall, the trend has been incredibly solid where the run rate's getting insane. It's hard to believe that, but the numbers are lining up for me where we're finally, I don't know if you remember last week, we were below all-time highs by just a little bit, and we're finally back above them. And that this is just for the trading portfolios. I have some stuff that I never took out of like SPY equivalents, VTSAX primarily, that is back also to all-time highs, which is kind of funny to see that. While I sold my huge VOO, well, whatever, relatively large for me, VOO stake to start wheeling, I did that like the absolute bottom. And we've been keeping up with or exceeding the overall growth of the market by doing wheeling, which I think is actually maybe like the best thing to be doing to prove it out to yourself of like, okay, am I keeping up with or beating the market? And in my case, it's been like, yeah, I am. And as long as I'm generating that 1 to 2% a month or a week, I should say, this is great. I just got to keep going. And so that's what we've been doing. I'm excited to see these numbers continue to go up, but back officially over 1-1. And the only thing that's still slightly down is this was like 200, not 200K, but a lot of Reddit. And Reddit is not back to where it was, but still Reddit has made me money and I have more shares than I did. So I do expect it to eventually get back to where it was. And we'll probably talk about that in a little bit. But overall, you can see my holdings here. Some of this stuff is going to change over the weekend. UNH is getting called away, but I'll almost guarantee that I'll be able to buy it back next week for under 305. So accounting wise, I don't actually change that until I decide that nope, it's not feasible or not likely to get it back for the price that I'd sold at. We can cover that in a few. Deck I rolled out surprisingly to me instead of taking that big hit just because I got a really nice net premium. Bull I went 50% higher on, so Bull has been very, very fun to play. Thanks, Alec, man. I appreciate that. I think it's a great stock. Honestly, I think long term it's going to run to 20s, if not more than that, to be honest. So it's like 1/10, if not, actually it's less than that. It's like 1/15th probably right now of Hood's market cap. And I think they've got a long way up to go. We're just getting through the $10 warrant stuff. So very shortly, I think we'll see. Well, one thing that happens is that removes the floor, is my understanding. So we could see a negative impact and it could go down, right? This is not financial advice, but all cards on the table, things that could happen. But I am expecting it to go up. There's been a lot of pressure to get back to 11, 12 with all these warrants getting exercised and shares getting diluted. So that's a great sign, right? And we got Tesla, which I now own. I did add that because we finished at 323 on 325 CSPs. I think that's like ideal. Like that's probably the best thing you can possibly wish for is to finish just under your strike price. And the CSPs paid like $6 or $5, something like that. So I mean, definitely in the money, but also my cost basis is below 320. So happy with that one. Google are uncovered shares. Did it really finish at 178? I thought we were at like 171 when I looked at like 3 o'clock. I might double check that actually. That's crazy. GME, we'll talk about that. Archer, blah, 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 blah. Cool. And then the garbage dump down here. So, yeah. All right. Let's get into the trade. Oh, I will say that I hit my goal officially. So my wife will allow me to continue to do this full time. So I guess it's official that I'm doing this full time for real. But like, I mean, I did not expect to hit this target so soon. And that run rate is just saying that like, yeah, it's going to keep going. Weekly return is interesting because, because it's going off of, I forget I have this automatically set up. It was 1.7, but now apparently it is 1.6. Okay. So yeah, that's cool. I'm happy with that. My target is only 1%. So anytime I beat 1%, I'm thrilled. And I keep certain things lower risk maybe than others. And I'm fine with that because it's a lot of this for me is about also preservation and not necessarily high growth. I don't really care about high growth. Like this run rate, my lifestyle is probably an eighth of that in terms of annual cost. Like it's not, I don't need that, right? Whatever that is. And I'm not sure that's going to be always the case anyway, but that's not really the target for me. I want to make sure that it's growing, but it's growing at a lower risk than, some of the junk that I show myself having. So I know I'm a giant hypocrite, but like, dollar wise, it's a pretty small percentage. All right. So let's get to the trades. Did I miss anything? Oh, I guess the month's not over yet, but a little bit lower than May. I guess June was typically or technically a shorter month by like a day or two, I think. But we still have Monday. So I guess it probably actually will be a little bit there, but I don't think we'll outdo May, but May had the ridiculous UNH play in it too, so not expecting to beat that on Monday. All right. Here for a jet. What jet are you going to get? What is that? What's that song like a G6? Do you sing that every day? Just like that's what I'm going to get, like a G6. All right, so we're going to start with Tesla. I'm sorry, my jokes are awful. Get over it as soon as you can if you want to deal with this for the long term. Tesla. All right. Well, I sold. This was a fun one. There was a huge run up. This was, I think this was actually the day of or the day before the Robotaxi announcement launch, not announcement, launch. And I was like thinking about this. I was talking with Bob Dog because Bob Dog is, if you didn't know, like the Tesla whisperer. And I'm just like, Bob, like, we're flying here. We're above that 335, which is funny because I had a 335. No, it was a CSP last week, and I bought it back at like 30%. I'm like, I don't want to own Tesla, not at that price. And then we ran up, and it was one of those like I was just staring at the chart, going like one of these Tao of Trading things, right? And things were just flying up, and I jumped on it. I said, let's go with a momentum trade for once with the CSP. So it's still protected, right? At 340. And the downside was actually 332. Even now is not terrible. And we were above that for a while anyway. But I think it was an hour later we hit 355. And I immediately put in a 50% buyback because I knew it wasn't really a long-term play. And whenever you have a run-up like that, especially with Tesla or a Tesla-like company, I would group Master or MicroStrategy and some others in that bucket. I was like, yeah, no, we're going to get out as soon as we can with profit. and real quickly we got 50% profit there, $800 for an hour of work. I work, quote unquote work. So it felt good. I was happy with that. I was just as happy to get out of it. But it just makes me think, maybe I need to start doing some half and half plays. So things that I'm considering doing that I haven't done yet is, instead of doing 2 CSPs, maybe do 1 and buy shares. And the idea would be that, obviously, you cap your upside no matter what if you're bullish, and with the CSP or a CC, obviously. So maybe leave some uncovered, and 100 shares bought at it was 343 when I sold that CSP. So let's say I bought it at 343 and sold it at 350, 355. I mean, that's $12, right, per share of appreciation, or $1,200. And so, like, if you add that plus the $400 of the CSP, it would have been a $1,600 return, almost double the return, for really what risk, when the risk is, it goes down, obviously. But you have that risk if it went down with the CSP anyway, because it's unlikely I'm ever going to buy it back if it's going to the negative, especially at like a rapid pace. So just something I'm thinking about doing. I think there could be some more profitable trades made that way, with not really a whole lot more risk added to it when you are considering it from that perspective. Justin, you call me a boomer, man? Come on. I am kind of a boomer. You're really not far off. Are you peeping my SWBI? Was that here? Where did I put that? Oh, over here. We'll get to the SWBI. We don't need to jump the gun on SWBI. The jokes, they just get worse. I'm sorry. All right, next up we had GME. GME was a simple one that I sold these last week. They were 30-day to expiration CCs. So not huge dollars, 0.8, right? 80 cents a share. And we hit 50%. So I actually got them back. It was funny because somebody else in the Discord, I think it was mostly Curious, was like, hey, I didn't get the 80-cent fill, no, I'm sorry. I've got the story backwards. I need to start over. So I sold this. I bought it back for 30 cents. And then if we scroll down to where I have more GME, somebody was on the Discord saying like, hey, I didn't get the 75 or the 80-cent fill, so I went with 75 cents because I got tired of looking at it. And this was kind of just an interesting example of patience in this game, because what we're doing, especially when you're looking at like 30 days out, I know it's not 30 days out, it's only a few weeks now, but like just 30 days out as a general guide of what we're talking about here, you have time. Like this 80 cents is now at like 95 cents, or it was anyway. Now it's probably back down, but it was at like 95 cents. So really what you need to do is just pick your target and then set your limit and don't look at it ever again. And like, let your phone buzz you eventually in the middle of the night. Well, I guess it wouldn't be the middle of the night. In the middle of your kid's soccer game that like, hey, you now potentially own GameStop. Congratulations, idiot. And live that way. It's a little bit less stressful, I think. But anyway, I sold these, bought them back, and resold them for pretty much the same amount. And overall, pretty happy with that. Like that's how the longer dated plays work. You're still like, I know this doesn't necessarily look great dollar wise, but you can do this multiple times in the same week sometimes with 30 DTEs, and it doesn't have to be a week. We're so used to the week because of the volatility, and frankly, myself, AA, and Bob Dog are kind of promoting that mindset and mentality. I do think it makes sense right now. But it's still okay to do 30 DTEs. Feel free to do 60, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And then, Showcase. This one is for you. This was sorry, let me see, Justin. Do I have a profit target like 25 on GME? Yeah, so minimum is 25 because that's my without premium cost basis. I like my actual cost basis is $23.50, even lower now when you consider this buyback here. but I like to generally consider it without the premiums, because if you put the premiums in and you're okay with selling at cost basis, well, you didn't really gain anything. Like, yeah, you're showing you didn't lose anything, but it's not really what I want to do. I want to try to sell options at or above my actual original cost basis, not my current based on premium reductions type stuff. It's fine to do that. It's fine to account that way. That's just not how I look at it. So for GME, 25 is my like immediate target. And then I have some other shares that are sitting in a taxable account where they've got a cost basis of like 27. And I honestly, I think we'll be back to 30 or 28 probably is where we'll be back in a month or two. AA went over earlier today in his TA. If you didn't see that, it was awesome, by the way. His TA lesson, he hit GME at the end. He's like, "Oh, it's so bearish. Oh, this chart's terrible." But it's GME, so like it doesn't really follow technicals anyway. So don't worry about it. But I do think 25 short term is fine, and then I do expect we'll get back to the 28 range. And then we've got Lulu. God, Lulu, what is wrong with me? It's probably because I genuinely like. I shouldn't say this publicly, so I'm going to stop that thought before it goes any further. So as a company, they're terrible, but the leggings, man, they got me. They got me again here, but this time, this is actually a revenge trade from a set of calls that, I think this is exactly how I feel about it, where, that $3,500, I think is worth like $5 right now. No, maybe it's like $250, something like that. So that was a revenge trade that happened to go well. However, this could have been, I think it was like $6,500 at one point, which would have been nice, a nice $2,000 gain. Instead, it turned to $750. And I'm glad I still sold it when I did, because it was moving in the other direction, and to this day has not gotten back to that level. In fact, we're well above. They were 230 puts, so like we're well above that. We had dropped as low as about 221. I expected a better movement in price at that level than we got, but it just wasn't there. The volume wasn't there, which kind of surprised me, but maybe shouldn't have surprised me because it's Lulu. So yeah, called it a late hedge. It was a late hedge. Technically, slightly improved my position by buying and selling these. I'm not touching them again. I'm just going to eat this loss. However, I'm going to ride it out because there's like a moonshot of a chance that's highly unlikely that these get at least closer to where they were. And in fact, we're seeing this like rebound. You know what? Let's look at the chart. I got Reddit up here, but let's look at Lulu. So we're actually like seeing a bit of a rebound right now. We bottomed out here, and I asked AA about this actually when I had the puts, and this is what I was talking about. We hit 219 apparently. Ooh, 220. I wish I sold them at that point, but I did not. I think I sold them somewhere around here, probably this Green Day right here. Good band. And he was saying that it looked like we bottomed at this point, like right here. And I was like, really? That sucks, because I was hoping Lulu was going to go to zero. I was hoping they were going bankrupt after losing $3,500 on calls. So yeah, I ended up saying like, yep, you know what? I'd rather have some profit than be red on two positions, and instead got out of it. And we really are. Like, Showcase, I don't know if you see this. We are rebounding. Now, I know we've got some work to do with some of these other moving averages. And yeah, there we go. Is the 2-hour chart my main chart? Actually, my main chart is on Robinhood Legend. I like using this bad boy. What I usually stick to is the weekly, although it's a mess because it always has the after-hour trading on it. But I'll usually go between like a day, and I'll look at the day with 5-minute candles, and then I'll look at the month sometimes, and I'll usually change the month to either 1 hour or 4 hour. I think 1 hour. No, 4 hour. 4 hour. You should probably do day here. I don't know, but to me, it just makes more sense from like the bar sizing. So I prefer this. It gives you a little bit more fidelity in what you're looking at here. So we'll look at this here in a bit though as we get to bull. And back to the tracker. All right. Lulu. God, who wants to make fun of me for Lulu? You should. You should. I feel bad. There's like one guy on After Hour who followed me on that play, and I told people like, dude, do not follow. This is dumb. Actually, that's not true. There was a couple people that followed me, and I'm not calling anyone who followed me dumb, obviously, but because then I'm just calling myself dumb, which may be true. But one of the guys followed me and sold at profit. Like the day after the drop, he made 20 something percent. And I was like, no, man, that's not what you should be doing. You should be holding on and getting rich. And I was like, nope, that just dropped out. So he made money. And then there's this other guy, I feel bad. Fate Resurgence, I think is his name. He messages me on every post I do on After Hours. Unrelated to Lulu. I think I did like a bull post or something or the share lending, and he's like, "You still holding Lulu?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm still holding Lulu. Those pants are tight. They're not coming off. I can't get them off now. They're even tighter. What do you want me to do? I need scissors." So yeah, I am still holding them. I feel bad for my brother in arms there. All right, now we get to the fun one. Oh my God, my sushi beer money that did not pay off. SWBI. Yeah, this was for the memes a little bit, a little bit. I bought my 10 shares. I joined the club for this one. That was $100, right? Like, we laugh about this stuff, but like, I wouldn't gamble $100 on anything in the real world ever. It's literally only in my brokers that I would ever do something like this. Like somebody would go like, "Hey, do you want to bet on a slot machine, or do you want to bet on a literal coin flip, heads or tails, 3-1 odds?" I'd be like, "No, no, that's so dumb. I'm not even no. Go away. Why are we? How are we friends? Why are you even asking me this?" So instead, I decided to go in with the gunslingers, and I did. I bought 10 shares. I should have sold it like immediately after the drop, but for some reason I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And then it just like slowly kept dropping, and a dollar tick off here, a dollar tick off there. So whatever. I lost $15 or something, like 20 bucks. Not the worst thing I've ever done. It would have been fun though. I honestly, I wish that it went up so that everybody got rich and I missed out on it. And like, that would have been a lot of fun then to kind of meme about in the server, but I didn't get that one. Conviction or stupidity, Alec? This is the question you need to ask yourself. Yeah, it's I don't know. Conviction is an interesting term, and there's conviction, and then there's stubbornness that can be mistaken for conviction, and you need to be careful which one you have, because mine is not always necessarily conviction. All right. Speaking of conviction, here's a fun one. BBAI that I've been bag holding for like 7 years, it feels like. I think it's been 3 months, but that chart is just like brutal to look at as well. I think it's a giant cup and handle, by the way, now that I'm thinking about it, but it is. It is. Like I got it here, I think, like way back here. And it was one of those like we had dropped huge amount of interest on After Hour at the time. We're like, yeah, what's whatever. We'll get 1,000 shares, 5 grand, and then we dumped. And I mean, like at this point, this is when you like take it off your watch list, and you're like, maybe if I just don't look at it, it doesn't really exist. And a lot of people at the same time would be like, well, you should cut your losers, and this is where you get out. But like when you look back, and you're like, yeah, but there's a bunch of gaps to fill. So felt for sure we were going to get back to $4, and then we did, and then it all of a sudden looked like it was going to squeeze, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to hang on for the squeeze, but I'm not hanging on for this. I'm not hanging on for whatever back up to here, which I'm not sure we're going back there. Maybe we do, but this candle right here was like my ticket out. I was like, yep. Actually, no. I think I got out here at like 5. Yeah, it was 515. I made $150 for 3 months on 5 grand. But at the end of the day, I was actually perfectly fine with that, because anytime you're holding bags and you can get out even or better, I mean, that's a nice day. That's a good day. It feels good mentally. Just puts you in a good spot. And it also kind of gives you hope on inevitably everybody, I think, has more than one bag, probably, except for some of those crazy high conviction people like Trogdor, who has now $14 million of ASTFs. But I do think it's good to step back and not necessarily panic. Like, what was the difference between holding it another month? Like, especially, to be honest, the $5,000 position was generally, any accountant would consider that like immaterial, essentially, on the size of the portfolio. So why would you take a loss on that when you can just wait? Time is a mysterious thing in how it seems to work, because now when you look back, you're like, yeah, I didn't even hold it that long. Like 3 months. We're working in these days and weeks, so it feels long every day. The days are long, but the years are short, man. And I'm actually glad I held on to it and saw it through. It would not have been that big of a difference if it went to zero. So it was fine. It was a fine play. Conviction when you win and dumb when you lose. Oh, that is dead on, Showcase. I agree with you. All right, let's get back to the tracker. I'm sorry, I'm taking my sweet time today. All right, so rip my beer, and we're back to BBAI 4 months later, and now UNH. I love seeing UNH chanted in the Discord. That is a fun one. So sold a couple of CSPs here at 302, and then we spiked, and I bought it back the same day. I honestly, obviously, I could have waited, but like that was a good percent profit. I think that's something like 60%, 60, maybe it was 60, one of those like 63 percenters. No, it's 50% when I look at this. I'm an idiot. So it was a good trade though. I was very happy with it. And it was also, I think it was 4 hours, that whole trade. And I actually would have been happy to get those shares at 302.50 because my cost basis is still, well, my cost basis is like, I don't know, under 300 now, technically. But again, going back to the original, I would have been happy to take 302.50 because these shares I still measure off 335. And we'll go down to UNH over here as well, because I sold other CSPs on this. And these, oh no, these are CCs. So I had both. I had both going. And these were looking like I could have bought these back a couple of times, but these shares I bought at 304.50. So I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll take max profit. And today was wild. Like if you look at the UNH chart today, we're all over the place. It was I think at one point it was like 303. And then at one, no, that's, what am I looking at? I'm at the wrong chart here. One day. Wrong interval. 5 minutes. One day. When I look at here, we were all over the place. And where are we? Yeah, we started the day way out of the money, and then we were like deep in the money, and then we almost fell out of the money again. I thought we did actually come back out of the money, and I could have bought them back here in profit. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I do think that probably next week I'll have a shot at buying them back below 305 again. I think a lot of this was with the rally, although there might be news here I missed on it. But overall, it's been in this very clear channel. And I know I switched chart from chart a little bit, but this is better because it doesn't have all the overnight noise. So if we look at UNH, the channel is so clear. Oh my gosh. It's like, well, 290. Okay. I actually don't think, I wouldn't call that the channel. I would call the channel basically this, like 300 level here, where it's a bit tighter, to 310. We're very tight in that spot, and we're not out of it. Like we're still, like, look at those bands. They're tight. And I think probably Monday, Tuesday, we're going to be back to a 302 opportunity, 301. It's another place where it's like, have some patience. When you're in this moment right here, and I think I can make these bigger, whatever. When you're in this moment, this feels almost scary, right? Now, less so after you've been doing this for a while, but here it feels like things are going down and they're going to go to zero. And then here it feels like they're going to go to 500 right now. And especially when the bars are a little bit jumpier here, right? But it's like, yeah, zoom out. Zoom out, and all of a sudden, actually 3 months is way too far. And that, the channel again is just so tight. Even if you go back now weeks, there's plenty of time. There's time for us to get a position that we like. And how do I turn off that auto scaling? Whatever. And it's okay. I think it'll come back down before it goes up, because we're really not likely to see it jump again until we get to earnings, which I don't think is till like August. When is earnings? Was way over here somewhere. Was it this drop? It was this drop, right? Yeah. And that was May 17th. So May, June, July, August, right? So we've got months before, or a month and a half, I guess, before we have to worry about that. And I think there's really plenty of time for this to breathe. Yes, I do think there will be a run up for earnings. That seems likely based on the fact that we've got these gaps to fill, these giant drops. Actually, I don't think those are real gaps. Like, you can zoom in on that. And maybe some of these are gaps. I might be on the wrong bar size there, but it'll run up, but I don't think it's going to be yet. So when you get covered calls called away, you might feel like you need to roll. These are technically, from my perspective, under cost basis in the money CCs. And still, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I just buy them back or resell them, resell CSPs next week. That's totally fine. Like, you will likely be able to do that. I will likely be able to do that unless there's some crazy news here, which maybe there is and I haven't seen it. So, anyway, just my thoughts on UNH. It's a tight channel. To sum up here a little bit, right now I'm sold out at 305 on a 310. And maybe this is another spot where I uncover a little bit and swing trade. Because, if I looked at my cost basis, my new, not original cost basis, and just swing traded that, it's not bad. I mean, that's $10, right? I could have made $10 there per share on 500 shares. That's what, $5,000 or something like that. So not bad. How long did it take you to build your trading patience? That's a great question. So I think part of it is like, everybody's got like their innate just disposition in life. And I don't want to get too philosophical here, but I ran factories for years, and feedback I always got from bosses and stuff was like, it's a breath of fresh air. You're so even keeled, blah, blah, blah. It's so nice. You don't panic. Like, I'm not a panic type person. So if you are a panic type person, you need to somehow disconnect yourself from that emotional response. Now, I am one of those psychopaths who does things like cold showers, cold plunges, put myself in hard situations. I love experimenting on myself, whether it's like a diet to see how my body reacts or how I react mentally. And I think those like attributes, things that you try doing that are hard, naturally puts you in a spot where you're less likely to be immediately affected. However, I still get the occasional, like, watching numbers on the screen adrenaline rush, where it's like you need to identify that that's happening. Maybe when you make, like, literally a example that you could do that I think could actually help, like, most traders, is seriously take your pulse. What is your heart rate as you're looking at this trade? If it's over 100, if it's over 90, I don't know, whatever your regular heart rate is. I guess I'm not judging. I'm not trying to suggest it should be whatever. But if it's higher than like a little over resting heart rate, or you're trading while running maybe, like, maybe reassess, is this really the time to get into this trade? And that would probably save a lot of people if you just have a simple metric of where's my head at. If you can have your head space and you're in a clear spot, go make the trade. Do it. Feel free. But if your heart rate is literally like 160, maybe not. Maybe this is the time where you say, I'm going to go for a walk outside, think about it, and then, or set like a limit, buy or sell, right? Instead of panic buying or selling. And even today, like, I may do that on occasion. It happens. I try not to, like everybody, but it can certainly happen. And I think, overall, long term, the more you do this, the more mechanical it gets. And probably years of trades, it's probably thousands of trades executed before you're like, yeah, I'm good, whatever. Like, numbers go up, numbers go down, green and red. Yeah, it's a Christmas tree on my sheet here, right? So you just get over it. Um, I don't know if that was complete gibberish or not, but that's my thought on it, Showcase. All right, so then we've got, what am I scrolled way too far, didn't I? Talked about UNH. Cool, made money, great. Google, yes. Google CSPs. I liked this play. This was a good one. I sold seven contracts at a 170 CSP when we were at 166.7. The thing you'll notice about Google are the premiums are garbage. But if you're bullish on the position, which I was, and if you look at anything in after hour right now, literally everybody, long included, Bob Dog, Average Advisor, whoever you follow, people are like, yeah, Google, way undervalued. And literal millions of dollars are going into it from just these people. I think Long put a 2 million position in, right? And it was to me like, yeah, I feel pretty good about it too. I think it's going to be back in the 180s here, not too distant future. And we're kind of seeing it, right? So when you can't get good premium on the CSP side, you can go in the money. And so that's what I did here. It was an in the money play, and it paid off bigly in very short time. I mean, the 25th was Wednesday, right? So on Wednesday, I bought it back for, again, it was like a 60 something percent. I thought about holding out on this one actually because it was Wednesday, but I was like, you know what? That frees up a lot of money, and I had other plays I wanted to make. So be like water. Yeah. If you haven't read Siddhartha, that's kind of an interesting one that has a good take on meditation and being like water and all that. In one of the chapters, I like the book. I only read it last year for the first time in my life, but recommend it. I enjoyed it. You set a limit buy, and when I see it go the other way, I change my limit and chase it. Yeah, well, that's where you need to not do that. If you were to instead not do that, you might have a better result. No, so look, I change limits on occasion, and what you're saying, I actually do. I agree with you, Showcase. It is definitely a win. It's okay to change your limit, but chasing is that's a good word to use, because if you're chasing, you're already losing. Because you're no longer following your position, and you're no longer giving yourself time to think of, has something changed? Has my position changed? And instead you're like, I want it. I'm going to buy it. I've got the money. I can buy this. I'm totally going to buy this. I bought it. It's mine. Oh, shoot. It went down. And that's what happens, right? Because as we just looked at on the UNH chart, I mean, things go up, things go down. That's how stocks work. Look at this. In the same 2-day period, we went up a lot, and then, sorry if I screamed in the mic, up a lot, and then down a lot. Easy up, easy down. That's just kind of how it goes. Again, sorry if you hear my kids cackling in the background. What the hell are they doing? But if you're worried about missing out, you did miss out, but that's okay. Move on to the next trade. Who cares? Right? I think that, it's not about winning. There's no ego. The market doesn't have an ego, by the way. We have ego. So put the ego to the side and be like, yeah, I missed it. You know what? It's Monday, probably, when you're having these problems. It almost always happens on Monday, right? Give it till Tuesday. See what happens on Tuesday. And look, Tuesday, you would have this. Oh, wow. This literally was Monday. Holy cow. Look, Monday, and then Monday, and then Monday. This was the same day. This was even Tuesday. I'm still on Monday. That's hilarious. Okay, my example is even better than I thought. So in this case, people bought here, or sold, I suppose, depending on what they're doing. And a little bit of patience, if they put limit orders in right here and missed it, they would have got it, most likely, within, if not that day, the next day. Obviously, things can go up forever, but then you missed it. Move on. Who cares? There's a million stocks out. Okay, maybe not. There's a lot of stocks out there. Somebody must know how many stocks there are. I don't actually know how many stocks there are out there. I will slap your hands from afar. I will make a we'll make a hand slapping emoji. How's that? Yeah, Monday, that's the thing. What if you didn't make a single trade till, I don't know, Wednesday? Could you still make your money? I bet you could. Why don't you try? Like, why don't you experiment with it? Give the market, especially if it's on like a tear, and you're going to feel like you're missing out. And in fact, you probably won't be able to do it. You probably get in on Monday anyway, not listen to me, because that's how this stuff works, right? But maybe take a small portion and don't go all in. Just leave a little bit to the side, 10%, 20%, whatever's comfortable. Anyway, I really liked the Google play. I would have been thrilled to own it at 170, by the way. And I do have 200 shares uncovered that I've left uncovered because the CC premium sucks. And I was like, I think the stock's going to go up. So I guess this is an example of leaving a portion uncovered. This is my personal experiment. And so far it's working out. So we'll keep doing that for now. Alrighty, KSS, very cool. 850. Oh, that's right. This was the CC. I had 850 CCs for 14 cents. I tried to get it at 15. I could not get a fill at 15. This is an example of me chasing, but it worked out. I chased by a cent because I didn't want to think about it anymore. I was like, let's just get rid of this stupid crap. And that was actually my goal. I was like, all right, I need to simplify my port a bit. So I'm going to get out of this, and ended up buying it back because it still broke. It would have broken the rule to not buy it back at better than 50%. It was 65%. So I did that. And then I ended up selling the stock today at 860. 20 cents doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, it was $500. It was fine. So it was fun. I got, out of the total trade, $500, and over here, 675 on, let's break out the calculator. Is that on screen? Yep, there you go. 675 on the, what was it, 21,000, something like that. 21,000. 3%, a little over 3% for, I think I held it for a week in total. Maybe it was slightly more than a week. I think it was about a week, though. Even if it was 2 weeks, that's great. I'll take that all day. 25 to 80% return APR. So, it was good. It was good. Silly play. Time to stop messing around, though, honestly, with some of these stupid ones. They're okay. Yeah, Kohl's is stupid. I'm not going to pretend it's not stupid. Kohl's is stupid. It's like, obviously, a dying business. It's undervalued, but that doesn't mean it's ever going to go back to the real value, even if liquidation value is higher than that until liquidation, right? And I don't want to play that game. So I was like, maybe we stop playing around with the... I'm going to get burned eventually playing those games, I think. So I just decided to kind of call it quits on that one. And again, anytime you can get out at a positive, take it. Which is what I tried to do with RCAT. And it had this. This is like a 3-month CC that I bought back today. And if I had waited, I could have made whatever, like 5 cents a share on it or something like that. But I wanted to buy it back because it's been squeezing, and if it squeezes again, let's look at this chart for a second. I know it's a meme. Honestly, it's not really a meme to me. I should be clear on that. I actually did like the stock originally and what it's doing. Is this a cup and handle? That might be a cup and handle. I don't know. One of you cup and handlers need to tell me if that's a cup and handle, but it looks like a cup and handle right there. So I think we're about to go to like 1 million, something like that. But I wanted to uncover the shares because we've broken my cost basis of 9 a couple of times. And the story on the RCAT shares is, yes, I sold the CSP right like here at 9, and we just dumped all the way down to like 4, right? And that hurt. But honestly, it was a meme stock, so I knew there was a good chance that we'd eventually come back up. And I think it's a legitimate business as much as Bob Dog makes fun of it. And I thought we'd get back to maybe the $10 range, $10 range. But like these CSPs paid me like $3,500. So it was a ridiculous, it wasn't even in the money. It was just like a $3,500 CSP for 2,000 shares, and I would probably do it again. I don't know. Very high premium for a cheap stock. And I think, it would have been nice if I had bought back the CCs here, which I didn't do out of laziness, because it's the only holding I have in Robinhood. It was like one of those put your money here, we'll pay you whatever 2% of IRA transfer type things, which I don't really recommend doing ever again unless you just want to move there for real, because it took so many days that I missed out on some gains. But I did the CSPs here. I could have bought them back here. The CCs that I sold for up here, I didn't. And then I missed an opportunity to get out. And again, I really just kind of want to get out of it at this point, to get out of these like meme-ish stock. There are meme stocks that I like. I like MicroStrategy. I kind of think that's a meme because who knows what's going to happen. I feel like that's a bubble of some sort still to this day. I want to get out of... I'm in GME, and I know that seems like a meme, but I actually like wheeling it. It's been very profitable over time. So, I kind of want to get out of this, just free up the cash and go with something a little bit more, one of my more likable memes than that one. All right, maybe too much explanation for an RCAT CC buyback. Sorry about that. IWM, this was all right. I mean, I think I ended up probably net negative. We can look this up. We can roast me here on my IWM calls, which this is actually the second set of calls I made. And one made money, one lost. I lost $70. Whatever. To be honest, my hit ratio on calls is absolute garbage. Apparently I'm okay on puts. I think I've only ever made money buying puts, by the way. Now that I think about it. And most of the puts that I bought were on Reddit while I was holding it. But listen to this. Hear me out on the, all right, let's talk Reddit for a second. Here's the theory that I have on Reddit puts. And the idea was, and I did this back, well, now we'll bring up the Reddit chart. I did this way back here. And I think I talked about this recently of something I'm thinking about doing. And I kept the shares generally uncovered in this period. That's not true. Okay, here I was selling CCs repeatedly and made a bunch of money. Over here, I was not yet selling CCs on it. And I'm glad I didn't, because I would have missed a huge run up, right? Even though we're like we were below that at one point. But what I was doing was I was selling puts at these spikes, because the idea was like, if the stock goes up, I lose the premium on the puts, but I'm still ahead. Now, that only works on like a very defined time scale, I know, because if the stock goes up and then you lose your money from your puts because they go worthless, but then the stock goes down, that kind of sucks, right? I don't know how to explain that. But the theory was, by holding the shares uncovered, it was a bullish position, and selling the puts on those uncovered shares was hedging. So I didn't take big positions. It was only ever like one or two contracts at a time, but it made money like every time. It was incredible. I'm thinking about doing that again, as it appears that we're on a run up again, instead of CCs. Very anti-theta, I know, but it works so well, I kind of want to do it again. Now, I'll probably do a mix, like I've been saying, like this half and half thing. But that is one thing that I'm thinking about trying again, because if you look at like all of these peaks, when it spikes, puts do well. I think 99% of the time, like not even kidding. I guess there's like moments where you're in a run up for multiple days that, like, if you sold a put here, it would suck. So we would have to, or I would have to figure out some like specifics around it. But here is a great example of, I think I looked at puts on this day and I'm like, I don't know, maybe we're going back to 120. It was very hard to pick at this point when we're at these like all-time lows. But yeah, it's something I'm considering doing. Just a very small hedge. one or two puts at a time on 1,000 shares. So not like a full one for one contract per 100 shares type deal, just a small piece of it. And it went out pretty good. How far out did I go on my puts? Dude, they were weeklies, all of them, because they're cheapest, and it was always a fast move. Yeah, I do talk Reddit every day, man. It's like this is what we're going back to here, by the way, like for sure. In fact, I wouldn't put this out of the realm of question, but I don't think it's here. I think it's like way out here somewhere. I do think long term this is like $300-400 stock personally. That is my conviction on it. So all right, I'm already beating Reddit like a dead horse. It did make well, I might as well talk to that play real quick. I did sell 9 contracts at 150 for 375. So cost basis is 146.20, whatever. Underwater already, but I don't feel bad about it. I actually feel fine. I think this will be good. I think this will be good in a couple weeks. Uh, you know, AA was looking at this on his TA, and he's like, "Yeah, super bullish, right? Everything here is super bullish. Little pullback here today, cool, all good. The whole market pulled back, so like whatever. I do think we this was a defined catalyst. This gap here, will we close the gap? Maybe, I don't know, but likely, honestly, with Reddit. So I didn't go all in. All in would be back to 2,000, 2,200 shares, something like that. Instead, I just bought the nine or sold the 900 worth CSPs. So I feel good. 146.25, whatever cost basis is totally acceptable. Even if I keep the 150 as my cost basis, totally acceptable. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to keep playing that one. Then we've got HIMS. HIMS was great. I kept making money on HIMS again. Like HIMS might be, a lot of people have said that it's probably one of their like biggest tickers. It is for me too. What did I do? Did I just break my sheet? What? I have to click it, don't I? Yeah, that would help. So yeah, obviously I've played HIMS a lot over the years or year that I've been tracking this. 9 grand so far on mostly covered calls and stuff, a little bit on shares. It's been good. Yeah, look at these covered calls. Oh my gosh, dude. I can't look at these prices again. $24. I remember these. Ridiculous. Oh, and maybe this is where buy and hold wins, I guess. I don't know. I had no conviction on it, though. So I would never have done it. This call away was funny, by the way. This was when it went from 27 to literally 50. That was ridiculous. Reddit, let's see. You're calling me out on this one, all right? That's fine. That's fine. I'll click it. A lot of moving parts on Reddit, huh? Let's see. I gotta not click on the shares. Not on those shares anyway. 65K. Not bad. That's like maybe people can see why I like it. it was that's I didn't even realize it was that much. You just made me feel so much better about my Reddit position. You have no idea. But yeah, that was good. Keep in mind, some of my Reddit cost basis is like, oh, this Reddit here is still at the low cost basis. So this is 63. 200 of the shares are at like 45, and then 100 was at 80, something like that. I don't know, something like that. So, like, if I were to sell these right now, which I won't, they're up. They keep at one point they were up 200 and something percent when we were at the 220 range, 300%. I don't know. It was a lot of money. So yeah, no, I made a lot already. I could have made more if I just sold it at the two. Like, who knows what's the top, but I'm not upset about it at all. It's been good to me. So I'll keep playing Reddit. I can't help myself, and I really do think it's a good company. Which again, number one rule of wheeling is do this on stocks you like, and if you do it, you're in good shape. So next up, HIMS again. We covered this. This was just kind of cashing in repeatedly on the $42 drop, or the drop to $42, and then back up to 50 or whatever, 49, whatever we're at now. I could have left this to expiration, but like essentially this was a squeeze, maybe is the best way to put this. And then I bought it back again out of wanting to free up the money, because it was a decent amount. It was 50K, right? So I was thinking about doing something with it, and then I think I walked away for the rest of the day. So I guess I lost $100, whatever. Overall, $1,600 for a couple of days of in and out was a nice return. I'd do that again. And we talked about KSS. Then we talked about Tesla once, but these are different Tesla shares. These are shares that are assigned to me. And I did hit this a little bit, actually, at the beginning, I suppose. But cost basis for real is well below 325. It's under 320, so we're not underwater at all. If I sold them today, I would net positive, and that'd be fine. This was, that drop after the robotaxi stuff, where I think we hit 321. Bob was calling 321 out, and he was dead on. I think it hit like 321.90. And I looked at 320 CSPs for $6, and I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to catch the falling knife. That was definitely the most profitable moment. And not the most profitable moment, because I could have sold, I guess, 325 CSPs for like $12 or whatever. But it would have been like the peak play if I had made that. I didn't really feel like I missed out on that much at 540. And honestly, don't tell my wife this, because she doesn't want me owning any Tesla, because she hates Elon. But I'm happy owning it at 325 or 323 now. I'll sell CCs on that. I may wait a day before I sell them, but I probably won't wait long, and I'll just swing it back to maybe 330 and juice it next week real quick for another $1,000. That'll go well. Archer, Archer. I thought, I actually had to adjust the gains tracker, because I had assumed it was going away, and then it didn't. Finished 3 cents below. Dude, I can't get rid of it. I need to not sell CCs on this. This is a good example of just leave it uncovered, and the next time it squeezes to $11 for no reason at all, like literally just put a limit sell in, and that is the move on Archer to get out most profitably. Although technically, I guess this is most profitable if I'm still holding it. No, it's not, because I could have got out at 1070. Yeah, that would have been most profitable. And the funny thing is, I could have bought these back for 60%, and I didn't. I'm kind of kicking myself. This is why you follow that stupid rule of that's after hours. Sorry. But this is why you follow that stupid rule of buy it back if it's over 50%. And it was at 65%. So I should have bought it back, and then I could have just sold the shares for 71 cents a share on 2,000 shares. I mean, $1,400, that's pretty good. $1,400 on top of buying it back for what $150 or whatever. That would have been good. I would have liked to have done that in hindsight. And I feel like more often than not, I kick myself for not following these rules that I've created and promoted. They just keep ringing true time after time after time, and I still haven't learned my lesson. But what are you going to do? Sometimes you feel like you just know all the answers, and in that moment, you can't convince yourself otherwise anyway, because you're arguing with yourself. So it doesn't work. All right, UNH, I talked about this. $1,000 here, whatever. That's cool. I'll $1,000? Oh yeah, it's only 500. Okay. Like I said, I'll probably buy that back. I need to mute this for a second and cough. Hold on. Okay, sorry, I'm back. That was extended cough, longer cough than I was expecting, to be honest. All right, then we got MicroStrategy. Dude, I love this. I cannot believe how much I love MicroStrategy. It's so ridiculous how the premiums have been great, although we need to talk about this. They are very heavily contracting IV over the last month, and the premiums are shrinking. So now I am out of this, and I might not go back in. If it goes back to a higher IV level, I will probably jump back in. And at this point, I may wait for the next round of dilution that is inevitable and use that as an opportunity to buy shares direct or maybe sell CSPs, but more likely buy shares and then sell CCs on them at like $30 above where they are. And these print repeatedly. We were at, again, I probably should have left half uncovered and I could have sold these at 395 for another $15 a share on 300. Oh, it's hard. It's at 4,500. That's starting to hurt when I think about this in hindsight. I need to just do that. I think that might be the answer to how do you handle runner stocks, which is what you deal with when you have high IV stocks to begin with, right? The whole point of those is they're going to swing wildly in one direction or another. Now, if you want to be, the most conservative approach would be to CC those bad boys, let them get called away, or if they don't drop, well, all right, you're most protected in that case. However, you do cap your upside. We all know this. And maybe the answer is to leave and maybe it's only 100 shares that I leave uncovered out of the 600. That would be a way more profitable move. I think on average, much more so than my covering of all shares. So something I continue to talk about, I continue to think about, needs to be refined a little bit, but maybe worth considering if you want to make a little bit more than you will and also take the sting out of it when it does run, because things will inevitably run, right? So why don't you just maybe think of it as like a rotation where you have 600 shares, 300 this week, whatever happens, maybe you have an opportunity to sell shares at a big profit. You do. If not, you rotate those into CCs for next week. And then just over and over and over. You may adopt that for stocks you don't understand, like CoreWeave, huh? That's the one you need to do it on. You didn't. Oh, so I don't own any ONS Direct. I do have, which is the next one to talk about, CSPs. This is wrong. This is way wrong. I have 10,000. Okay, there we go. That's right. What? It was so cheap. That's the biggest option order contracts I've ever done before, by the way. And yes, I am definitely chasing premium. I know that. I actually am very surprised I didn't get to buy these back today at 50%. It ran so much, like 8% days in a row. For sure, I thought this was going to be 0.1. And instead it hung at 0.15 because you can't go in between it apparently. And I didn't want to, it wasn't at the 50% rule. So there was no reason with how far out of the money I am to play that any differently. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll take another $1,000 for very little capital tied up. Let's do the math on that for a second. So $2,000 divided by $15,000 of total risk is 13%. And I know that's not quite a month, but like call it 3 weeks. So what's 52 divided by 3? Like 18 or something? 17 maybe? 17. I don't know. I can't do that type of math right now. What did I do? No. Shoot. 13 times, what did I want to do? 18, 16, 17. 17 would be 51. All right, we'll do 17. 220%. That's not bad. You guys listen to me like gibbering about math is terrible. But yeah, that's an insane return. So the downside protection at 20 cents puts you at 130 a share. And ONS was less than that, right? It was at like 70 cents. And I do not plan on holding it. Like, I know Tron really believes in ONS. He should change his name to Trons, by the way. He's the biggest peddler of this stock ever. I'm not like that into it, but I was into the run up and getting the premium. I really thought I was going to be able to get that premium sooner. Again, maybe I should have swing traded it, but that wouldn't have been actually that great of a play because it's only moved by like absolute sense wise, like 15 cents. I guess that would still be a lot, right? $1,500. So yeah, I guess I would have played out too pretty well. I'm really convincing myself of this half swing, half cover call play that I need to start doing. But anyway, we'll hang on to it for a little bit longer. I'm guessing we'll see some more run up and a squeeze. I'm not getting the shares, I don't think, regardless. So looking to get out. I'm not planning on buying shares either, uncovered. I'll just take that cash and run. That's fine by me. Then we got GameStop. I did open up some new 0.8s. We talked about that already. Lulu, talked about that already. Deck. We do need to talk about Deck. That's probably the last play worth talking about today, because this stupid Qubit one is just, it's months and months away, and I don't even know what I'm going to do here. I'm probably just taking a mega loss and eating it and being done with it. I just need Jensen to just destroy them again. Be like, yeah, no, I said it, guys. I said Quantum's 20 years out. I changed my mind. It's 50 years out. He needs to roll his dis. And if he does that, I think I can finally maybe break even here. Probably not going to happen. Oh, sorry. You're talking about ONS. What did I miss? Is that because it's 3 weeks? Yes, that's what I was doing with that. Do you have to call that into Fidelity to get limits on contract size sometimes? No. No, I think I 100 was no problem. I saw limit buys for over 1,000 contracts on ONS. You could call it in. They charge you, by the way, if you call it in. I think. I'm pretty sure. That may not be true. Maybe it's brokerage dependent. But I think they charge you for that. And for sure, 100 goes through no problem. So even if you had to do it in like 100 order bulk, it might take a few minutes to get like 1,000 in. If you wanted to do like a full 150K position on ONS, oh my God, I do not do that, please. Tron doesn't even have that much. He's got like 60 or 70. But yeah, you can go pretty far with them just on the order screen there. And then finally, Deck. All right, let's talk Deck. So Deck is a company that I don't like, and I wish I didn't play. And this is why you do this strategy on stocks you want to own. And I, this week, decided, which this is how it always burns you anyway, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to just sell aggressive at the money CCs and take the coin flip. Whatever. I don't care. And if it gets called away, I think it's a it's not a net $12,000 hit, but it would be in this moment a $12,000 hit. So I was able to roll it though for like a really nice net, $1,600, which was more than the original CC by putting it out a couple of weeks to 718. And my sell price is $2 more per share, which is $2,000. So like that's a $3,600 improvement from the current position. And $3,600 on a 100K position is 3.5%, right? So like in terms of deploying your capital, that is actually a very efficient capital deployment. Even if you have to take it down to by week, it's still over 1%, and which is my target. So when I thought about this, I was like, why would I take any loss at all if I can still get paid more than what I am today on my current money? Like, that's a profitable trade. I'm going to take that trade. So I did. Now, if it gets called away at 105, which is highly likely, will I roll it again? I mean, if I get presented the same opportunity, yes. But I don't think I will, because generally Deck premium is ass, like absolute garbage. And in this case, it was way higher than I expected. So I messed around with it for a while too. Like I kept playing out different scenarios. I tried to get it to like a $2,000 credit, which looked plausible at one point. But you're like playing Vega and one of the other Greeks at this, not just Theta, but like Vega and one other, as the value is contracting and expanding because of the volatility, right? The IV change. Maybe it's gamma. So I was like trying to find the sweet spot, and I usually go with whatever the highest is, and I did it, and then I tried it again 5 minutes later, and all of a sudden I went from a net credit of $3,000 to a net debit of $2,000, and I'm like, what is this? So after a while, like playing with the different legs a little bit, I got to this one, that filled. I think it still took like 20 minutes to fill, but I was happy with it. And I'm like, if it happens, it was meant to be. And if it doesn't, I'm eating $12,000. Here we are. So it worked out, thankfully, and I may still end up eating 10 grand next week or in a couple weeks, but a little less painful in the process. And again, I'm totally fine with getting out from under deck. I do think when AA was looking at this chart for deck recently, as a couple hours ago, I clicked the wrong thing. There we go. And this gap. Like it seems likely, and even this gap, it seems likely we're going to get back to the 107 range. So if I get the opportunity to, I guess there's still a gap here too, though. If I get the opportunity, I may buy it back, which I can't believe I'm saying that, but I might actually buy it back, but it would have to drop to a contract value of 80 cents or less. So that's kind of it. PK, welcome to the chat, my friend. That is my personal tool, but it is available to the Theta Daddies, which if you don't know who the Theta Daddies are, it's these guys with these giant arms. And we got a Discord, discord.gg/Theta Daddies. I guess I could type that in here, right? Discord.gg Theta Daddies. That didn't make a link at all, did it? I guess I need to do it the right way. I didn't spell it right. Don't click that one. There's an S. There's supposed to be an S on this. Somebody help me out. Give it one more try. There we go. Okay, that's the real one. That last one. Yeah, it. If you don't know Theta Daddies, it's where we hang out. It's a good place, and I have a copy of this there. It's pretty well automated. I'm going to brag. Well, we're done with the trades anyway, so we can brag on this amazing dashboard. I actually have it listed on Etsy to sell it, but nobody's bought it. So I don't know. We'll see. If I ever get a sale, that would be hilarious. It costs $30 to list it, by the way. So yeah, everything is generally automated. The only things that you have to hide or fill out are the things that are highlighted here, because there's no. I would say there's no way to automatically feed this in, but apparently there is. And the Theta Daddy Discord, some of the evil geniuses in there, coding geniuses, have figured out a way to make it pull from Robinhood automatically. So if you're a Robinhood holder, even cooler. But if not, there's really not a whole lot to fill in here outside of trades. And I personally think it's good to fill in trades. Oh, this is me figuring out cost basis for Bull. Oh, we didn't even talk about Bull. Well, I'll talk about Bull in a second too. And then, yeah, so you just kind of fill out line by line. Each line takes a whopping 10 seconds to type in, and it automatically updates everything. So, yeah, I've developed it over the last few months, I guess, really since like February or March, out of necessity, really. And it's turned into this. It's been pretty cool. I like it. I'll keep using it. I don't really see a need to change it more. The only thing I want to figure out, and I think I mentioned this, and there is a way to do it, but it's just to highlight the things that you have covered from the table here, as in like cover calls. So like, deck would be covered. That's about it. I don't have much covered calls right now, but that would be fun to do. So anyway, all right. So last thing to talk about is Bull, which is fantastic. And I will actually, if I can find the image here, I'm going to copy the image that I posted in my Discord channel. Copy. I think I can paste that right here, right? Yes, look at that. That's the share lending picture, right? So this is awesome. I love this. This is what I've been doing with Bull. So I just let it pay me 50%, almost 50% interest every night. In fact, I think it probably paid already today for last week. It only actually pays out monthly, but you can see your progress throughout the month. So the accrual here. All right. So I just increased my position. I think a lot of you know, I increased the position to 9,100 shares. And that brought my cost basis down to 1211. Again, this is the This is the actual cost basis, not including what I've made from share lending, which is $1,000 almost now. Nor does it include what I've made from covered calls, or even the CSPs that I sold this on, which were material, like 50 cents, if not more, per contract. So the like net cost basis is probably under 10 now, or close to. It's probably above 10. It's probably like 10, between 10 and 10.50. And I think long term it's a good spot to be, right? I think we're going to see some good stuff out of Bull long term, especially as the warrants dry up. So that was why I increased the position to a full 10%er, almost. Not quite 10%, but no, actually it is. It's exactly 10% right now, right? We're at, that's exactly 10%. So almost on the money. Wow, it's like 9.9999. So yeah, 9,100 shares. That means if the other 3,000 shares go on Lend, which I hope they do next week, that $94, if we maintain this current interest rate, will increase to 120, 130, right? I mean, that's pretty solid. I will leave those uncovered for a long time. As long as it pays that out, I will leave them uncovered. Because this way I don't run into that issue we've been talking about all night about missing the run-up. And I do think Bull will squeeze at some point. I think Bull can squeeze to like $15 or $20, like for real. So I want to be in position, and the fact that this exists feels like cheating. So I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to keep it in that position for as long as I can. Oh, crap. I lost chat. Sorry. There we go. Am I really only in one CSP right now? Yeah, actually, because everything just expired. So it's only taking from here, and we've got, I guess I have two CCs, Qubit, stupid Qubit. DEC and Qubit are the CCs, well, and GME, and ONS is the only CSP. Everything else closed or was bought back, and sold shares in the case of like MicroStrategy, right? So no, that's right. That's all good. It works. Don't worry. I'd had 3 in it this morning when I just started the day. I don't think I screenshotted it this morning or not, but yeah, everything is actually accurate here. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. All right. Freaks you out when they pull shares in the middle of the day to lend. Oh, yeah, because you see the transactions? Yeah, that's a different one. You're in the Discord. Awesome. It may only be for paid members. I'm not sure. Let me see. It is in, where is it? Oh, tracker files. I think it's a paid Discord feature. I do have an unpaid. So the paid Discord has version 2.1. I can share with you version 1.0 that is just not automated. Which, if you know how to automate it, you can just automate it, honestly. But I guess this is where I'm supposed to sell you on like joining the Discord probably, but I'm terrible at selling anything ever. So yeah, I will. What I'll do is I'll post the link to 1.0 after the stream ends in chat if you want to hang, which will be ending soon here. If you want to hang for just a couple of minutes, and if you want to use it, feel free. If you want to join the Discord, also feel free. If you don't know, Data Daddies, we're up to, I think, it's legit. We got 165 paid members, something like that. And everybody makes money, apparently. This is our weekly gains. I've not seen anyone lose money. I showed this stat earlier, but we're up to over 1.5 million since inception, where there weren't many people here in the first couple of weeks, obviously, as we were growing. But since we've been tracking, and this is only the people who share their tracking, 1.5 million. That's probably, you can't see it. What if I do this? Sum from here to here. You got, there you go, 1.5 million. I told you, I wasn't lying. Why would I lie? But yeah, got a lot of members actually in the chat too, following along. So there's, thank you, Saul. I didn't know you were watching, Saul. You sneaky guy. Oh, you're finally awake now, right? But anyway, there's, it's in there. Check us out. We love trying to help people learn how to sell options. That's what I do in this channel. That's what we do in the Discord. And I think maybe more than that, like, it's hard to explain there's people that have reviewed the Discord, and among others, and the feedback we get typically is well organized, professional feeling, but feels like home. And like that's, if you were to ask me what I'm most proud of, it is not the member count. It is not the 1.5 million that you guys have somehow accumulated of reporting. It's the community feeling. Like I personally spend well over 40 hours a week here. I mean, talking, chatting, reading, whatever. Probably to my wife's, disdain, like 80 plus hours a week just interacting there because I love it. I love talking to everybody there. It's been great. You guys are the best. Oh, yeah. If you're going to join, definitely do it through the desktop Discord. It is, if you have iOS, they upcharge you 30%. Like, that is absurd. 30%. That's criminal. But I think you can see here that these are all individual weeks, and I don't think we've had anyone not make at least like $50 a week. And port sizes range from 2K to multiple millions, and everything in between. And we don't care. We don't care how big the size is. That's kind of the nice thing about it. It's not discriminating in any way. I do think realistically you should have at least $5,000 in a portfolio to wheel successfully on not complete meme stocks that then take up your whole port percent. That can still destroy your port if you do that. So you want to ideally be doing this on stocks you like and want to own long term. So if that's something that clicks with you, check us out. I don't think you'll regret it. Our turnover is incredibly low. I think it's under 5% of people leave after joining, which is like, I Googled some stats and I think normal turnover is like 20% or something. So again, very proud of the community we've got. It's amazing. You're all amazing. It's amazing. And I actually think the charging has made it better personally, because it keeps out, like, if you ever go, I've been in free Discords and they're transient. People come and go. They go in to get what they want and leave. But everybody that's here wants to be here. And so, like, it's not just me and the other two coaches contributing. Everybody contributes. And it's, I really think we built something cool here. So anyway, that's it for my sales pitch. I wasn't planning on doing a sales pitch today, but since you asked, I guess that's what I should be doing. And I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all coming to hang out, listen, ask questions. I get better personally talking about this stuff. So it's nice to be able to share my thoughts, and your thoughts in return often shape my thoughts as I think about it more. So the more we do that, the better we get as a whole. That's why this stuff works the way it does, and as well as it does. And that's going to be it for me for tonight. So thanks for coming in. I hope you all have a good night. Saul, I hope you have a great day ahead of you. And we'll see you next Friday on the next one, as always, because this is too much fun not to do every week. Same time, same place. It's on the calendar. I'll see you there.